Welcome to the Hookset Library's 2022 Candidates Forum, a series that helps connect voters with those running for elected offices in Hookset. I'm Brittany Overton, the Adult Services Librarian at Hookset Library. In this video, we talk with Randall Lapierre, who is running for Town Council in District 6. Randall, thank you for taking the time to share with us your interest in the Hookset Town Council. Let's start.
Thank you, Brittany. And thank you for hosting this forum for me and for the voters of Hookset.
Great. Let's start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself and the experiences you've had that you feel would support you in the role of counselor.
Thank you. So I have been serving on the council for the past 2 years. There was a special election 2 years ago to complete a term that was previously vacated, and no one was running in the district, so I wrote myself in, and with just 2 votes, won a 2-year term on the town council. I did it at the time. I thought it would be interesting and educational, and I thought I certainly couldn't do worse than no one. And what I found over the last 2 years is there's a lot to learn about town governance, about town bodies and committees, and all the different factions that interact within town in order to get things done. And carrying that forward into a new 3-year term with the experience of the last 2 years and all the lessons learned, I feel like I'm in a position to be effective as a member of the council and as a representative of the voters in District 6.
Great. If you are elected, what initiatives or projects would you be most interested in tackling in the first year?
Currently, I serve as the chairman of the ARPA subcommittee, which takes funds that were granted to the town through the American Rescue Plan and appropriates them to town projects. So looking at areas of need within the town and the capital improvement plan, and trying to address shortfalls in areas that chronically go underfunded or overlooked. And on my first year and my new term, I would like to see those ARPA funds allocated and expended to those projects.
Okay. How important is economic growth to Hookset's future?
So we are a growing town, and there are a couple of different ways to look at growth. One is through population and residential density, and the other one is through economic development. I think a healthy town has a bit of both in a balanced approach. And I think if you look at the housing market in Hookset, there is certainly no shortage of demand for housing. There is a shortage of housing in general for the amount of people that want to live in Hookset. And as a town, we should want to encourage a commensurate amount of economic growth to support that population, to create jobs and a broader tax base within the town in order to support the services that current residents and new residents want.
Great. And in your opinion, how should the council balance economic development, demand for housing, and maintaining a small town quality of life for residents?
I think that the small town quality of Hookset is maintained through communication and participation. However large we get as a town, either on the economic side or on the population side, as long as we maintain open lines of communication to the voters and to the different constituencies, we have open public hearings, and we are accessible as elected officials and as town staff to the residents of Hookset, to the developers that want to move in here, and to the businesses that currently reside here. I think that small town mentality is maintained through relationships, both building new relationships and maintaining current ones. And in my experience, the more you communicate among those groups together and across diverse groups, the better relationships you have.
Okay, and the last question related to those prior. With continued growth in population, how do you see Hooksett changing over the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years is a long time. Just as we've seen booms in the past 5 to 10 years, we've seen times of crisis as well, specifically in the housing market. And it's important to remember that, because while there is a strong demand now, growing too fast when it comes to the amount of available housing in Hooksett might be problematic in a near future that might not see as much demand, just from a downturn in whether it's the economy in general or the housing market, the stock market, or inflation gets higher. Mortgage rates just increased to about 4% in the past week, which will drive down housing demand, specifically on existing houses. And so there is a complaint sometimes that government approves things too slowly, but at times of extreme demand or extreme economic crisis, in both cases, it benefits everyone to be prudent and to be careful. I think it's important as a council going forward, working with the planning board and the ZBA and updating the master plan of Hookset, to make sure that we are really taking a 5 to 10 year look and not just reacting to the immediacy of demand that happens today.
Thank you, Randall. It's been great to hear your thoughts on the town council.
Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to answer.